Hey there, welcome back to another episode of Spindle Feeds. It's so great to have you along, and I think you're going to like today's project. Now, a couple years ago, I was on a midnight eBay quest, and I had won an auction lot that had me really excited. There were a couple starred items mixed with brown and sharp tools, some nice nickel files in the mix as well. But what I believe was a cherry on top was a very sleek 8-inch Mitutoyo Digital Caliper that appeared practically new. Turns out, however, that these calipers were a counterfeit pile of Chinese trash that is total garbage even on its best days. And it's just been languishing in the corner of the toolbox ever since it arrived. Dimensionally, however, they made a caliper body that was pretty close to a real Mitutoyo. I don't know if that's any great achievement, but for this project it will serve a purpose. See, I wanted to make a tailstock DRO that doesn't require the mutilation of my tailstock with a bunch of holes. So I took some dimensions of the important parts of this scale, designed a holder, and 3D printed the parts. Now I'm sure I'll need to refine the design, so we'll see how this fit turns out from this first print and note the revisions as I go. The first modification I'll need to make to this caliper is to remove the jaws. I'll do this with a Dremel and a cutoff wheel. Once the jaws are removed off camera, I deburr the sharp edges on a bench grinder. Next, I remove the slide rollers. The final item to remove is the center scale slide rod. I immediately see a couple holder design modifications that will be required. First thing is the corner chamfers on the rear restraint clip is preventing the scale body from seating fully. Second issue is the lips on the center retaining post needs to be trimmed back some, and I'll also need to enlarge the slide hole to allow better clearance. Okay, so after those modifications are made, this holder is working much better. I'll stick 2 of the 4 magnets in the bottom and see how it functions on the tailstock. Moving on to the quill clamp, this will require the clamping holes to be drilled and heat set nuts to be installed, after which I'll split the clamp on the bandsaw. It took 3 or 4 tries to get the heat set nut aligned with the hole for the clamping screw, but it looks like it's finally coming together. Now, before I proceed with this piece, I want to do a quick test fit on the tailstock quilt. The clamping pressure seems adequate, so let's continue. The next step is to drill and place heat set nuts for the scale holder. The end of the scale is sandwiched between the base and a 3D printed top hat and held in compression. Okay, so the scale clamp assembly is ready. I've installed the remainder of the magnets, and I think it's time to give this thing a go. Okay, it's working, but I'm really not satisfied with the holding power of these magnets. I think the revised design will have either bigger magnets or just simply more of them. Also a note, the reason this display is blinking is because it needs a new battery, or because the battery cover is complete garbage. Sometimes I have to place a paper shim between the battery and the cover for it to even power on. Okay, so I've made the revisions to the design and printed a new display holder. I'm utilizing 2 much larger magnets between the base, and hopefully this will be adequate. We'll test it out. But I may print this again. I really don't care for the finish I got on this print. The finish on the first print was significantly better. I think I just need to clean the nozzles on my printer, and that should fix the issue. number one thing to watch out for while installing this is the alignment between the scale display holder and the quill slide clamp. If it's not aligned, the scale will bind up in the hole on the display holder and pull it forward. But as long as there's clearance and no binding, the scale display holder will stay put. The alignment is adjusted on the quill slide clamp. I've noticed that when tightening the quill clamp, the entire clamp wants to rotate in the direction of the clamping force. Thus, you either need to hold it firmly in place or rotate it back before applying the clamping pressure. Alright guys, that's it. I think we have a functional tailstock DRO. How would you improve on this design? And do you think I should switch this scale out for a real Mitutoyo? Let me know what you think in the comments. Until next time, thanks for watching.